Hey folks, welcome back to another stream at Global Hack Week April, that is the API week, and today we have a very interesting yet a simple session that is around. Okay, let me guess, you might have already read uh, the heading. That should be the session will be around deploying your first ever page on GitHub pages. But before we actually jump onto the session, we already have a lots of highs in the chat. Hey Shubham, hey, that's Anshuman, I guess. Hi, Anshuman. Hey, Shivam, welcome to the stream. I remember you from the last stream. Can see a lot of familiar faces. Just gonna correct my lighting. I guess that should be better. Just facing some light issues. But to start with, how things have been going for you folks. I was watching Prithvi's streams, which was just before this stream. I see a lot of user interactivity there. But this stream will be very simple. We will be talking about how you can actually deploy your first ever page on GitHub. Uh, but before we start, I really want to know like from where you are actually watching this stream. I had a very amazing response in the last stream, so you can use the chat section and let me know from where you are actually watching this stream. And have you ever worked with GitHub pages, or have you ever worked with GitHub? You can just let me know. I guess that this is a very simple question. I guess a lot of folks you might have already worked with GitHub for a longer period of time, but I really wanted to know that how many of you have actually completed it. Hi Adarsh, welcome to the stream. Today we'll be talking about I guess GitHub pages, but yes, the question comes back again. Have you folks ever worked with GitHub in any sense? It can be creating a repository or it can be like hosting your first page. I know like hosting pages might be pretty simple, but a lot of you folks might not be aware about how we did it. There were yep. And Sada share, yes, for repos and pages. And to be very honest, GitHub pages, like for me, I personally feel is very safe space to start with. We do see a lot of people hosting their pages on site. For example, you made a portfolio website for yourself, and yep, even I have used Vercel. Even I have used Vercel for that. A lot of folks, like including me, when I started coding and working on my own portfolio website, I saw this that okay, there is a need that I need to deploy this so that even I can showcase that or similarly on my uh, like on my social media handles. Hey Maverick, I know I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing the name wrong, but yep, welcome to the stream. Okay, you have also worked with GitHub. Hey Shivam, can we host complete apps of just yep? You can basically in index dot in GitHub pages you need a file index.html that is something that the system reads, and it actually makes you go through all the certain like the system goes through it and it helps you to deploy on GitHub pages. After that we have others. Okay, you have already made that. That's me others.co. I guess we will be definitely showcasing that at the end of the stream. But okay, we are gonna do that at the end of the stream, Others. The main motive of the stream is actually, if I say, is first of all, I can see a lot of folks hopping in. So first, welcome to this amazing session at deploying your first ever page on GitHub. That is Global Hack Week. Okay, I have put it as March. Can I update it now? I need to check. It's Global Hack Week April. That is the API week. I guess you folks have already seen a lot of API sessions, but this will be a very simple yet effective session for you if you have never ever worked with GitHub pages. But to start with, I guess there might be certain viewers who do not know much about GitHub, how things work. But before we start, I'm just going to present something. Just to give a clear overview, this will be a very simple stream. More like we will be interacting a lot. I will be clearing your doubts. If you find any problem using deploying using GitHub pages, you might face a lot of problem while having a custom domain. But we will be also going through a documentation where all the things like which is related to hosting pages on GitHub have been solved. So I'll just do a small introduction for myself. Okay, so I can add this to the stream. Okay, hey folks, welcome back to Deploy Your First Page on GitHub. This stream will be all about I'll be walking you through I'll be walking through basically the overview of GitHub. I'll tell you what is GitHub if you have never worked with, if you have never made an account with GitHub, and also to tell you how to make a repository. I know these things might sound a bit childish to a lot of people, but I certainly know there are viewers in the stream who do not know how to create a repository, and we should be there to help them before we actually move on to tell, okay, now you need to make a repository. After that, we will be actually jumping onto our main page. The thing is, we need something to deploy over GitHub. So what we will be doing is we will be making a simple portfolio website using just HTML, CSS. We will be working on using the data I have. I'll just use simple code, just 10 to 15 lines of code, so that we have something to show. We will be using online code editor so that it should be simple to you. So my recommendation would be, if you're someone who have never worked with HTML, CSS, or even if you have worked with, if you want to make, you can definitely check that out. That whatever I will be coding, it will be basically of simple of HTML, CSS, and I will tell you how you can structure and organize a web page. The next segment would be, I will be helping you folks to actually host a web page on GitHub. I'll definitely tell you to work with GitHub desktop. So okay, just to take a quick check. Have you ever worked with GitHub desktop? I guess that has to be one of my favorite things from a long time now, because I've been working with GitHub desktop. But okay, I can see Adarsh has worked on GitHub desktop. So if you haven't, I guess this is just the start of the stream. You should go and download GitHub desktop. Like, this is not a compulsion. You can definitely do apart from GitHub desktop too, but it is a very simple process. And yep, it's a very simple process, but it's important that you should also know other components of GitHub, so that, see, I'll be very honest here. You can use tons of other methods to deploy, yeah, like to put your files on GitHub. It can be direct copy paste, or you can use GitHub desktop. But it's important that you should go by a structure, according to me, because this is what I have done from a long period of time. I know these things might look like, okay, why do we need to pick up a difficult version? But believe me, with elements and features which GitHub desktop have, we will be able to find it more comfortable in the coming time. So till the time we are actually working on starting the stream, you can download GitHub desktop, so that when we will be in the middle of the stream and working around deploying your first ever page on GitHub, we will be having GitHub, you will be having GitHub desktop on your system, and things will be easy. Apart from that, we will be working on, like, I'll help you how to make a custom page on GitHub. As I've already said, there are certain issues which usually happens when you deploy your page. So we'll be working on that. Then we will be doing some Q&A and troubleshooting. I know for the all the folks who will be doing it for the first time, uh, on, like, working with GitHub pages, you will be getting a lot of troubleshooting, because I still remember for the first time when I was deploying my page on GitHub, like the simple page, it took me around like 2 hours. I still remember that. So I guess for a lot of folks who have like started working new with GitHub, and there might be a case. I can see a lot of more folks hopping into the stream. Hey Rohit, welcome to the stream. Okay, I can see a lot of chat moving around. Apart from that, if I move to the last part, it will be conclusion. I'll be just covering up what we have done throughout the stream, and we might see a short video too. I just need to check that we can display that or not. But with that, I guess we can start. I'll just need some water before we actually start. Okay, to start with, okay, I need to tell about myself. So, hey folks, I am Vinayak. I'm a coach at Major League Hacking. You might have seen me in hackathons, hosting hackathons, because that's what coaches do, right? And these amazing live streams, I guess for all the live streams you're seeing throughout the week, tons of been are concluded by coaches and also by the full-time staff. So I hope you're having a good time. And if you are someone who is a cricket, chess, or a Sudoku freak, we're already friends. So if you're someone who loves cricket, who loves chess, or who loves Sudoku, you can connect with me. Uh, you can connect with me on Twitter. I'll definitely share my username, and I guess things will be good. Okay. I find you youngest MLHer. I guess we also have one more MLHer. I guess that has to be Cavalier. Uh, he is the youngest among us all. He has joined the coaches program, I guess, 4 months now. So yep, we are already friends, Rohit, Arsh, because when you talk about cricket, I also play for my college, so things were good. Okay, I was about to answer this at last. If you want to become an MLH coach, you can apply at careers.mls.io. If you find yourself you're someone who loves the hacker community, wants to contribute in it, coaches program is one of the best programs. You will be here taking some amazing live streams and interacting with some amazing audience. So yep, that is how you can become an MLH coach, but you should have a certain experience in organizing events and have good communication skills. I hope that answers. Okay, yep, we do get paid as a coach for working. This is a paid opportunity, and yep, I guess we should go move ahead before we actually work more on. Okay, do I get paid as a coach or not? Okay, uh, just a second, folks. Okay, that was just my alarm that went on. Okay, so to move ahead, just a simple introduction what GitHub is. So GitHub is basically a code hosting website which actually helps you host your code online, so that if you have a friend who is living seven seas like away from you, like if he is actually living seven seas away from you, he can still see your code online. It helps you with version control, that if there is a version change in the libraries, GitHub helps you to manage that. And the best thing about GitHub, which I feel, is collaboration. You can have tons of people on a single repository or a single project contributing to the same. So I guess that will be more about GitHub. But if you have never ever worked with GitHub, I'm just gonna share this page. Okay, I hope everything is normal here. So when usually you open GitHub, this page should open. Okay, so this page should open. This actually tells about yourself, that do you what you are. So it says that, hey folks, I'm Vinayak. You can follow me on my Twitter. I am a student coder developer. I hope I have took multiple sessions on how to make your GitHub readme. So you can just go and check on Twitter of Major League Hacking, and you can find this content. Apart from that, it tells me this thing tells me about myself, that it also features my latest blog post, that like I have written sessions on what are GitHub Actions, how to use it, blockchain and its application, and starting a journey with learning Azure Node.js. You can always mention that. But if you're someone who have never ever worked on a repository, I'll just tell you how you can make one. So you can just go here. I was just checking some few things. You can just click on new, and you can create your repository for yourself. Now, why this is important? Because whenever you want, okay, you have created a same place. So I guess it works super good, because if you have a good profile readme, things will get good for you, because a lot of people, for the like when they open your GitHub profile, they see what you actually do. So yeah, that makes sense. When we talk about next, that is the GitHub repository. Then we have, you can name your repository as you want. It should be just available. So it should be available, it means that other person should not have taken that name. Apart from that, you can create a public readme, and then you can work. So as I've said, we will be working on a simple portfolio website before we actually jump onto, you can say, uh, the like deploying with work. So what we are going to do is, we are going to make a repository name as, let me think, port mlh. Again, not port mlh, that, let me think, port self. Port self. Okay, that is which I have kept. You can do the same for yourself. I am just making a repository for now, that is port self. I'm going to add a readme file, make sure it's public, and you can create a repository. So you have already made a repository port self. So what we will be doing now, we will be actually working on a proper portfolio page that will be all about from HTML and CSS, right? So our intention throughout this stream will be to actually make a simple HTML CSS page. After that, what we will be doing is, we will be actually putting that up on this repository using GitHub desktop. Once that is done, then we'll be moving to deploy this page on GitHub, and then we will be also working on custom domain. After that, we will be working if you have any troubleshoot problems. So if you're someone who have least worked with HTML, CSS, and even if you're someone who has worked with HTML, CSS, you can bear some time for with me, where I will be working on, you can say, HTML code, like about my portfolio. We'll be also writing some CSS code. So I hope things are ready. So I can just share my screen. I hope my screen is visible. Okay, let me do it this way. I guess things will be easy now. Okay, so I can go with, again, I guess the stream structure is pretty much similar, which I have told that what we are going throughout the stream, so things are clear. We are working on a very simple portfolio page that will consist of details about me, and then we will be deploying it over GitHub. Okay, so I'm gonna write title as my portfolio title. Okay, let me also put on a music so that things look simple as through I code. Okay, let me check. Okay, we can do this without music too, I guess. Let me think. Okay. Uh, the next thing is I'll also link, because we will be also doing some CSS coding. So I'll be just doing. I guess if you're someone who is using VS Code, I guess these things will be super easy for you, because certain options are there which automatically fill your code. You do not need to worry about it, because here I'm doing a manual coding, so that for someone who has just started working with, you can say, HTML, CSS, things will be easy for him. Okay, so this will be style.css. And if you asked what this line does, this line actually connects the style CSS page to this HTML page, so that when we actually deploy it at the last, things will be very easy to me. So we'll start with head, then we have body, head, body. Then we should, I guess, put our first header. It's time for a header. Header is basically the top page of your website. So if you have ever visited a website, you should be able to see. I know we can use VS Code. There are two simple reasons why I am putting up. Do you want me to do this in VS Code? The reason is I am putting up here. So if someone who have never ever worked with like HTML, CSS, code should be simple to him. Okay, there is no problem for me to work with VS Code, because VS Code is as simple. It will make things simple for me, totally simple for me. But when I actually write the code, it will be simple for that person who is watching this, like who is working with HTML, CSS for the first time. So I'm making sure that things are very simple for him too. And if you have like if someone in the stream has never ever worked with HTML, CSS, you can code alongside me on your compiler. You can better use VS Code, so that you do not need to write more and more, and you can make your portfolio website with me, which we will be deploying on GitHub. I hope that I hope that's good, Adarsh. Yep, you can also use readme.md on GitHub. That totally depends upon you. For me, to put up a good portfolio website now, the main purpose of this total stream is actually to make you comfortable with deploying your pages on GitHub. And we are just taking your portfolio an example, so that if someone who has never ever worked on your portfolio, this is a perfect chance for you. You can make a simple portfolio website with me and deploy it on GitHub and show your friends that you have deployed your first ever GitHub page. As simple as that. So I'll be later downloading this code and putting it on VS Code, so that we can upload it on GitHub too. So header, then h1, that will be my name, Vinayak Rawat. H1 is basically the major main tag, that is the heading one tag. There are multiple tags, that is H1, H2, as it is. Okay, so next thing would be making a navigation bar. So navigation bar is basically the top bar which we usually see. Okay, there is some issues, just a second. Okay, navigation bar is the top bar. Yep, we are using GitHub pages. Yep, you got it. Here is welcome to the stream. Okay, so the next thing would be using the navigation bar. Then we can use UL, and then we can write simple code such as list. Then we have uh, EF. Don't worry, folks. This thing will be covered up. You do not need to worry. Just okay. Let me check if that's correct. Okay, that should be my error. Okay, so this is hash out. I guess this will be in double inverted commas before we close it, and we'll just close it here. And the next thing is this is since about we are going to write, and then we should write. Okay, okay. If you think what is actually happening, we haven't added you can say CSS to this page, so you can see a code on it. Don't worry, we will be actually working on our CSS too, which I've already worked on, but I'm just working you through this simple HTML code. So next thing we are gonna do is just a second. We can put this here. You can clearly see it says if you ever know if anyone can on the stream. I'll not be applying because I'll be graduating this year. So I haven't applied for GSOC this year. I'll be looking for full-time opportunities, which I'm currently doing. So it's going good. If you've ever worked with HTML, you already know that AHREF code is basically you can add a link here. So you can clearly see about is it underlined, right? You can clearly see when we will add CSS to it, it will be a proper navigation bar we will be able to see. So don't worry about it. So we can do one thing, we can make certain four sections for it. uh, let's copy it. I've again said if you're someone who is working for the first time at uh, like your page, not your page, for if you have never worked with HTML CSS. Okay, again I can say that this is only like we are working on deploying GitHub pages. I'm making a very simple portfolio website for all the folks who have never ever worked with GitHub, and we will be deploying it over GitHub. And we'll like who have never worked with HTML CSS, and we are making very simple portfolio website using HTML CSS, and then we will be deploying over GitHub. So I'm not using any other additional bootstrap or something that might confuse new viewers. I know, I'll be very honest, for all the folks, 90% of the people will be very comfortable with bootstrap, even I am, but there are people who do not know about it. And I guess it's my responsibilities that I should actually tell it from simple. So this is the reason I'm not using any advanced version, and I'm just simply coding. So this will be, we can add this as projects, and last one can be added as contact. Don't worry, we will be also working on its simple CSS too. So this might look a bit odd now, but we'll be working on it. Don't worry. So we'll just end it with UL because it was our unrestricted list. Then it was the end of our navigation, and then also header. So if you know one thing, when you work at HTML or any other thing, you need to close it with a closing tag, right, using an hashtag. If you have never worked with, you can say HTML CSS. Okay, let me. Okay, things looks good till now. I can move to the next part of the coding, that is we can add a section ID named as, you can say, about. If you say, okay, let me just, if you ask why we are adding a section, because like we just need to put simple things about myself. So I'll make a section ID named as about, and inside that I'll write might be using an s2 tag that will be about me, and we will be closing this s2 tag, right? And now what you can do is using a paragraph tag, you can write about yourself. So I can do one thing, I can take something about myself from my LinkedIn profile. Yep, I am from the IT Durg. And the place which I belong to is Jhansi from Uttar Pradesh. So if you're someone who lives around Uttar Pradesh, we can definitely catch up sometime. Yep, so that will be a short intro about where I live. So I can do one thing. I'll just copy my work. Okay, so this is something which is about me. I have copied, and I'll just end it with a p tag once again. Okay. So this is something. So I guess this is clearly visible on stream. Again, no, it's very simple. Milagupta, we are already working on simple HTML portfolio website, and after that we will be deploying it over GitHub. So I guess you haven't missed anything. You can check on the code. We have just written simple HTML code till now, and we are just working on that. If you need any help, just let me know. I'll be happy to share the code with even you. So we'll be ending this section with closing section tag. Okay, now I guess we will be creating another section that is for our skills, because first it was about, then it was skills. So we'll go for section ID equals skills, closing this. Uh, we can write about like my skills. Okay, so we can do again use an h2 tag, my skills slash h2. And now you can do two things here. If you have ever worked on your skills, you can do this thing like, okay, you can use the li tag. First of all you need to ul tag, that is the unlisted thing. Then use the li tag to write your skills. So I can write I know html. You can see points here, I know html. So I can just write, yep, the unordered list. Oh, you're from Kanpur, so we might just hang around once when I will be there at probably we at UP. So the next thing is we have to close this. And what we can do here is we can just copy paste it multiple times, and I can list down all my skills. So I can do this, 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 I can do this. Okay. I can add one more skill, that is this. So my top skill is according to me is developer advocacy. The next thing about me, okay, let's keep it HTML. I know CSS. I create good technical content. Then next thing is I also know JavaScript. Apart from that, I also sometimes work around API since this is an API week. Okay, I've just written it for just for the sake of it. Whenever, yep, I'll definitely do this. I'll definitely tell you more about open source contribution. I'll definitely have someone on stream who can tell more about open source contributions. I'll definitely keep this in mind. Saw you at good folks. Thank you so much, Javed, uh, Kumail. Thank you so much. I hope we have met, even if we haven't. Thank you for dropping this message. Bye. Okay, okay. If Shivam, I guess Shivam lives in Lucknow. If someone is around Lucknow, you can definitely. Okay, if gaming skills you want to add, you can definitely add in the chat. Till the time I actually complete this code, so I'll just complete this code pretty quick. And the next thing is most probably ending this section too. I guess this looks good. The next thing which is on my radar that has to be next section ID that has to be projects. So we'll make another section ID uh, that is projects because that is what was our third main like work. Then we can do again use the S2 tag my projects. We can close this H2 tag here and I can do one thing. I can add my projects. I'll just use another unordered list here, and then I'll use li. Then I'll use an s3 tag here. S3 is basically more smaller tag, so I can tell about my projects, right? So rather than my projects, I can use like work experience, and even above I apart from projects I can write work experience. So what I can do here is in S3, so I'll just open my resume pretty quick so that I can copy paste it from there. Okay, let me check on downloads. um, Open with Chrome. So I'll just add my first experience. Just a second, folks. Okay, so my first project is like first major league hacking. If you have someone who have you can see it here again. If you have someone who have never ever worked with HTML CSS, you can just copy what I'm doing on the stream, and I can see a lot of good help going around in the chat. Okay, the next thing is we'll be using a p tag. So we are going to use a p tag now. Just a second. P tag. We'll just copy this here, and I'll just okay. I'm just going to remove this point. Okay, this works. I can add a BR line here so that it automatically changes to the next line. BR. Okay, I hope this works perfectly. I can just close it with a P tag. So this is my work experience that is at Major League Hacking. Okay, apart from that, I can do two more things. I can add two different more projects here. Okay, let me do that similarly. So I'll write another S3 tag and that will be turing.com because I have worked. Just a second, folks. One more thing, we also need to start it with an li tag. The reason is simple, since we are want to see it in bullet points. S3 tag. We are going to use the p tag. And if you're wondering what the br tag means, it's basically if you want to space one space here. As simple as that. So I'm just going to copy my work experience at Turing. Control C and Control V. So I'm just going to remove this part. What we can do here is can add a br tag once again, and after that another br tag. Okay, another br tag. This is basically for just simple. Another br tag. I guess it should be clear, divided in different points. I was a developer relations intern, and I can do one more thing here. I am a Coach, and that is from July 2022. Okay, that's a simple mistake from my side. This might look a bit boring, but to be very honest, HTML CSS is the best format of code you can ever do. I think of using that, but I guess this is a very simple way. I have used the li. I guess I have used the li text, separated them with bulleted points automatically. I guess I have done that. So I guess this looks pretty simple here. You can clear it turing.com, then coach points are been there. Apart from that, I guess this we are good to go with my skills. We have done with my experience. We should add one more section, that is how one can actually contact me. So I'll just add another section. I'll do section ID, and that will be contact me. So there can be multiple ways you can actually contact an individual. It can be through phone, or it can be through anything. So I'm just going to use the S2 tag, contact me, closing the S2 tag, spelling errors there. But yep, you can contact me. Okay, I can do this. Just a second. I guess I've already written this code, so I can just simply paste it here. Just a second, folks. Okay, let me. Okay, I have worked on this, so I can just completely paste it here. This will be easy for you folks to understand. So if you can clearly see, we usually use the label sections for putting out, like if you want people to contact us, and you can clearly see we have used a button type, that is submit, for sending message. So we can also write, apart from sending message, that can be uh, okay. Let it be send message only, because that will make more sense. But you can put this send message, like use the tag here to keep send message here. You can put a good message here. So basically this is, at the end we usually put up, okay, all rights reserved. You can clearly see here, right? What like if you have ever visited a website, uh, you can clearly see here. Okay, I know this is a question where the input data will be stored. It's more like this is a very simple static website. When we work with JS and Firebase, we are able to input, store, and data. I guess that is a different scenario. But I guess this is a very simple ever HTML page with work experience, about skills, work experience, contact me, as simple as that. Okay, just a second. Control C. Okay, I guess there is some issue. Let me check. Okay, let me just refresh it once. Reload. Is the whole code like, okay? It was good that I copied the code once, so that it's safe. But I hope things are very much clear. I'm not going to put a lot of time in CSS, since I've already worked on CSS, and we can eventually move on, like hosting your page on GitHub, because that will take some more amount of time. So I'm just gonna do one thing about the CSS. I'm just gonna explain to you what I've worked on. Or do you want me to code the CSS to a different CSS? That totally depends if you have never ever worked with CSS. But I have, since I've already worked on it. I guess this HTML code is very easy to understand of what I have done here, and I guess should be things should be clear to you. I guess a very good option, which even I prefer a lot of time, we can use HERF with Maltio, so that our contact data will be redirected in your Gmail. I have done this like back when I made my first portfolio. I was fixing some bugs, and I got a good message from like Stack Overflow. But I also have another option, I guess, that system is also supported by GitHub when you actually get contact data. But yep, we can do. But for now, we can do one more thing. I guess I can just write the CSS code which I wrote for this code. If this works, I need to check. I hope the majority of things are clear apart from this, because we have add work experience, so we can do one more thing. We need to keep okay. I guess this is very clear. You can find the CSS code. Yep, this is a very simple yet another good discussion point, that CSS is very complex according to me too, because you need to work a lot around CSS. But when you talk about simple level CSS, like this is just my recommendation. When you are ever working with CSS, you can just take a lot of help from Google. The main reason here is taking help from Google. It actually helps you motivate. Yep, Free Code Camp has a course on it which I have completed also. Uh, it will take time, but CSS will eventually push you to get better. Yes, using Bootstrap is something which I will prefer to use it after learning from CSS, because like this is my thinking that if you're ever working with HTML, CSS, the most important thing is used to get along with technologies, right? So if you will try to get away from difficult things, it might get hurt, like it might get a rotate and get back to you. But the most important thing is that you need to be upgraded from it. And if you talk about synthetically awesome style sheets, it's more like, I guess it's more powered. It's more powered. But again, definitely prefer Bootstrap once you get comfortable with CSS. As simple as that. So I hope this, I guess this page looks a bit similar. We can actually put it up on our, we can fill out this fields, we can host this page, right? So I'm going to do two things now. I'm going to save this system on my VS code before we actually push it up. So if you need the code, just let me know, I'll share the link with you. So, and I hope you have something to like post on your GitHub page till the time I can put this code on my system and we can upload it on GitHub desktop. So I'm just gonna make, okay, let me make a new folder. Although, just a second folks, let me do this simple things. Okay, new folder, GP, GitHub pages. We'll open the VS code. If you need the code, just let me know. I'll just share that. I'm just opening a new folder so that I can help you folks know how to deploy it over. Okay, let me, yes, I trust the authors. Uh, New file, HTML. I'm just gonna copy the code from here in my VS Code. So I'm just gonna copy this, Control C, and let me put it in my VS Code. That is Control V. I'm gonna save this file as, save as index, save. Okay, and I'm going to also open another text file with the name of CSS, and you can also use SCSS if you are ever comfortable with it. Folks, to all the folks who have also worked on this before, I hope you are ready. I know GitHub screen will be visible in just 2 minutes. I'm just uploading the code on GitHub VS Code, so that I'll be sharing my whole screen now. Don't worry. So I guess I can save this as style.css. Save as style style.css. Save. Okay. Now we have HTML, CSS. Let me share my full screen so that I can also help you work with. Okay, we can leave this page. Let me share my whole screen. Okay, deploy your first page on GitHub. Okay, present. How do we share the whole screen? Just let me check. Okay, let me share my window. I know this might look a bit okay. I shouldn't have shared that. Just a second. Okay, I guess this is saved. HTML, CSS. Okay, let me. Okay, let me stop sharing this. I just want to share the GitHub page now. Like, can I do a window? GitHub desktop. So I guess okay. Now it's good. If you folks have never ever worked it, this is GitHub desktop. If you have never ever worked it, so what I've done is I have the code which I have copied, that is the HTML and CSS code. I have put in VS Code in a folder. So what I'm gonna do is I am opening. I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all, we if you remember at the starting of the stream we made a repository, right? You need to remember that we made a repository. So we are going to clone that repository. Do anyone of you remember what was our repository name? Anyone? Like we have 40 amazing folks in the stream. Anyone who knows what was the name of the repository we made at the starting? Any one of you can tell me. Okay, I am getting that is port self. Port self. Okay, I'm not able to find port self. At the starting of the stream, we made a name repository. So what was the name of that repository? If any one of you remember. Otherwise, even I need to check what was the name of that particular repository. Let me check on GitHub. That was Sport Self, right? Okay, let me check. That was Sport Self. So what we are going to do is we are going to clone repository, that is Sport Self. I'm just thinking that why we are not able to find it, the Port Self one. Hmm. Okay, I got it. I got it, Port Self. So we are going to just click on it and I'm just going to clone it. So you can clearly see in now what will be the after effect of this. When you're working with GitHub desktop, when you clone a repository, you are going to do one thing, that is this GitHub desktop is going to make a folder on your system. Now I guess, yep, I have a folder named port self on my system. If I can just show it here, just a second. Let me stop sharing my this screen, share screen, window. Okay, I want windows to get captured. Let me share my entire screen. And now you can see a port self. That this thing has been done by my GitHub desktop, right? So I'm just going to again share my GitHub desktop page. So a folder will be created on your system with the same name as of the repository. Now what you're gonna do is, just a second. What you need to do here is, of all the files which you have saved on the VS Code, which I have done, like I have coded HTML, CSS, and I have done it. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna copy those files and put it in the port cell folder. So I'm just going to copy this files which I have written as a code, and I'm going to put it in the port cell folder. I'm going to paste it here. Now what I have done is in the port cell folder I have pasted both the files, that is the HTML file and the CSS file. So I'm going to show you an interesting thing, I guess, which a lot of you might already be comfortable seeing it. Now you can clearly see Okay, let me add to the stream. You can clearly see my GitHub desktop is now available with both HTML and the CSS file. So what I'm going to do is before committing it to main, I'll just write added new files. This is a way to actually add new files to a repository. I'll just click here and yep, we have post our files to GitHub. Now I'm just going to go to GitHub to check that. I'm just gonna refresh it here. Okay, I'll just start sharing my GitHub page now. So this is share. Okay, let me share if it's okay. You can clearly see from GitHub desktop, with the help of GitHub desktop, we have put our files here. That is the index.html file, the thing we coded back throughout the stream, and the CSS which we already had for our system, right? So apart from that, now the main thing come, like you can do a readme.md. I have took sessions. You can definitely do a readme. That this is my, like, I can just do it right now. My first portfolio website is going to be deployed on GitHub pages. I'm going to just commit these changes. Okay, so this is a basic. Now you can again go to the repository. Now what we need to do is, I guess the main part of the stream is here when we are actually deploying our pages to the system. Now a very important thing, you might have seen I have written index.html. Like I have named my HTML file as in dot. No, what I have did is I did one thing, like I am just going to again open the GitHub to make it understandable to you. Share screen, window, GitHub desktop. Okay, so I'll just share the screen. So this is how I have done it. When you're working with GitHub desktop, when you click here, you have clone repository option. Okay. Okay. So what you're gonna do is you're going to pick up that particular repository which you pick, which I did for which I named as sports cells. So what I did now is I made two files on VS Code, that is the HTML file and CSS file. And when you actually clone a repository, that particular repository, GitHub desktop makes a folder on your system. So what GitHub desktop did is it made a folder on my system. So once that folder is made, what I did is I made both of that files, that is the HTML file and the CSS file, copied in that folder. So when that was done, it was clearly visible here. I guess that was, if you go 2 or 3 minutes back into the stream, both the files of HTML and CSS was there. Okay, and then you need to just click here, that is push to the main branch, that is commit to the main, and yep, that is how we actually post it onto the system. As simple as that. So moving ahead, I hope these things are clear. We are going to just get back to deploying it on GitHub. I guess desktop would be preferable to my side. Okay, let me add this to the stream. Okay, so you can clearly see the thing which I was talking about. uh, Always remember when you are deploying it like static pages on GitHub pages, it's very important to name your HTML or the main file as index.html, because that is how the GitHub system actually reads it, because if you name it into another system there will be an issue. Okay, so we have done it. The next thing you are going to do is go to settings. I hope it's available. To be very honest, GitHub is one of the smooth, like amazing places you can just go and GitHub. You can see repository page. You can also click on a social preview of what you want to see. The next thing you are going to do is go to pages, right? Now what you're going to do is you can see clearly GitHub pages. GitHub pages is designed to host personal organization or project pages from GitHub repository. I'm just going to click it. If I'm going to give you a basic preview of what GitHub pages is, it's help you to deploy your pages on, like if you can show it to anyone around the world, just edit push and your changes are live. As simple as that. Very simple. Create a repository, what we did. What git, I guess we are using GitHub desktop, so clone a repository. We did that, cloning a repository. create an index file, which we did. We made a portfolio website. We did commit and publish. I guess just that was also visible in the stream, that both of the things were there. You can clearly see the HTML and CSS file. But when we were doing on the stream, the next thing we are done. Our system is now available. So we'll just go back. What you're gonna do is you're gonna click as main, because and you're going to save it. And the next thing is, let me check. Okay, I guess. Okay, another thing which you should also know about is, like, GitHub pages source is saved. It will take some amount of time. You can clearly see, to make your system go live. You can clearly see it is taking some time. Till that time, an alternate to GitHub pages is Web3 school spaces. Yep, it's gonna be true. This is gonna be true. This is going to take some amount of time. But if I just recap of what we have done till now, the first thing we did is we have just installed GitHub Desktop on our pages. We did a simple coding of HTML, CSS, if you know about it. Once that was done, what we have did is we have used, with the help of GitHub Desktop, we have pushed the main files onto GitHub, right? So what, with the help of GitHub pages, the next thing was, we were able to see files when we have gone to settings, and then we have gone to pages. We have learned a lot about pages, and to your simple surprise, your page is already live. So I can just share visit site. Share this tab instead. You have your own page deployed on GitHub. So if I just share this link, even you are sitting at your home, you can just go and visit this link. Control C, Control V. I guess many of you, if you have, who are also there, you can just click on this link and you can see the exact page. What does this mean? Our page is deployed on GitHub, and this looks simple yet amazing. As simple as that. This is as simple as uh, working on, you can say, GitHub pages. So if we have deployed, if you are deploying, if you are facing any issues, you can let me know. Till the time, I guess others was telling that he wants me to see his portfolio website. So you can just again list it down on your, you can say, the chat. I will be happy to know. But I guess the purpose of the stream was this, that I wanted to let you folks know how we actually working with GitHub pages. And to my, like, simple, which I have thought, the pages are deployed on GitHub. You can clearly see here, it is very clearly visible that all the things, like, I have clearly deployed, and I even have shared my link of my like GitHub page. So if you have someone who have followed me throughout the stream, you can just deploy it. If you have any issues, let me know. Till the time, we'll just go to others portfolio. That's me, uh, adarsh.co. Okay, I hope this is the one, Adarsh. I hope this is the one, Adarsh, which you are talking about. Just let me know before I actually scroll down. Okay, so this is Adarsh Gupta. He is a Python developer, he is a React.js developer, and he is a Fast API developer too, and a Next.js developer too. I guess that's a good animation, including this home skills projects about contact. Okay, he knows about a lot of skills. That's a good animation though. Totally liked it. Next was project, what he has made. I guess if we click this, GitHub page should open. Oh, you have actually deployed it all. So I guess this also works. Looks amazing. Okay, the next thing is overall a simple yet good, effective website which is developed by others. So good work, others. Actually, I guess that looks pretty good on the first attempt and looks super amazing. But for all the other folks who are working, I just wanted to know what's the status if you're working. I'm also going to tell you about something more. Just a second. Uh, okay, let me share this page once again. Okay. I have shared the link that what how my page was deployed. In the same way, you can even deploy your page. Things are very clear. Your site is live. Like when you deploy it using GitHub pages, You can clearly see, you will be able to see your site is live at vinayak27 raw github.io/port self. As simple as that. And one more thing, I guess a lot of people are here. Can you tell me the custom domain problems you usually have at GitHub? I guess there are a lot of folks, and any one of you, if you can tell me what are the custom domain problems you usually have while hosting with GitHub pages. I guess that are not problems, but you should be aware about it because when you will be doing. Anyone in the chat? Till the time I can find a custom domain. Anyone in the chat can let me know. Yep, there is a GitHub feature about custom domain. You can custom domains allow you to serve site from another domain rather than Vinayak GitHub.io. As simple as that. Apart from that, if you know, just you can let me know. Just let me know what custom domain you are watching. That you can clearly see if I share this tab. This shows vinayakraw.github.io/port self, right? So this is basically a long, uh, probably you can say a GitHub user like the page name, because we like to use this as short. So we can do a thing. If you know about custom domains, it actually works around. So let me write. Okay, let me do this. Uh, let's use www, right? I guess this is the most used one. Let me check. So this should be www dot port. Let's check for this. There will be a DNS confirmation. There will be a DNS check. I guess this is the error which I actually wanted to show you. Okay, let me tell you the documentation. I guess the screen is again visible. Yep, service not found. Sometimes this is a case which usually happens. So configure a custom domain for your custom pages. You can clearly see. Okay, let me tell about adding custom domain. GitHub pages work with two type of domains and subdomains and apex domains. For a list of unsupported custom domains, you can clearly go here. You can clearly go supported custom domain, that is www.subdomain, right? It depends sometimes that there might be an issue that it might be not be working, but majorly it's not the case. As simple as that. You can clearly also see that we recommend always using a www subdomain, even if you use also an apex domain when you create a new site with an apex domain. So it's very simple. If you're using custom domain for GitHub pages, you should definitely use www. And when you're using a subdomain, like subdomain is a part of URL that is before the root domain. As simple as that. You can also use a subdomain. It's more like making your support for like deployed page simple and easy to understand. As simple as that. So we can do one more thing. Can you like recommend me changes for this custom domain? See, domain is not a valid domain. You can clearly see. So I can see www. If I save it like this, is not properly formatted, right? So I can see www.portself.com. Let me see if that works. Anyone, if you can also recommend me changes if you have. But this is how you usually work with GitHub pages. I hope things were very clear. If any one of you folks are here who are actually working, let me know if you are facing any other issues with building a customer. I know this is a DNS check improperly configured, but this is not a big issue. You can still work on your GitHub pages. But for all the folks who have been like followed up till now, are you facing any certain issues with GitHub pages? You can just let me know that. As simple as that. Because I guess that should not be a problem, because there are certain problems when you work with GitHub pages, but you can also remove custom domain if you are not finding one. Your page will always be live on your GitHub page, that is githubprofile.github.io /port self. So if anyone on the stream is facing any issue, they can let me know. But I'm just gonna wait for 2 minutes if you have any issues. Otherwise, I guess things were very clear throughout the stream, how the stream is gonna work, how things are gonna get deployed. We worked on a portfolio page, we deployed it on a GitHub. I guess that was the purpose of the stream. We haven't used Bootstrap, Sergey White. I hope I'm correct. We haven't used Bootstrap, so I guess that should not be a problem. Apart from that, I also wanted to know like what are the other kind of streams you usually will like upcoming with related to GitHub or any other sales. So we are gonna keep. I already kept a check on CSS should load. CSS should load. No, we do not need to purchase the domain. CSS should load. Okay, how can I tackle your problem? Uh, you can do one thing. But this is a problem. Your file should be named as similar. Like for example, I'll just share my code once again. Let me share my screen. I guess I know the problem which you're facing now. Present, share screen. Yep. When you are using link tag for linking HTML and CSS, make sure you use the same name here. Okay, let me see if the screen is visible. Okay. Okay, so make sure you use the same. Okay, yep, same limb here, that is style CSS, and here too, because this is the majority of reasons CSS might not load. And I guess, yep, you need to use the link tag. You need to use the link tag, which I am clearly saying here. Use the link tag and make sure the name is same so that problem do not occur. This is the major reason why CSS do not work sometimes or do not get load. Yep, and do not use a CDN. That might be a case. I know I don't think so. Like CDN might occur a problem, but yep, this is the case which it usually happens. But to be very honest, GitHub Pages is something which is very super easy to work with. You can always work on that. Apart from that, I guess our page is deployed on GitHub. Sergi, does that solution work of linking, like linking CSS properly? We're just gonna wait if that thing works for her. I'm just gonna check one more thing. Okay, I guess this works. Okay, this even works on my phone. Super good. Let me just paste it here. Yep, just check it out. It's very simple. If you still face issues, just let me know. I just checked the deployed page on my phone and it looks amazing too there. I know there are some CSS issues, but we are gonna work on that. Yep, is going to be responsive. Oh, it was using Bootstrap as well. Uh, I don't think so. There should be an error while using a Bootstrap, but it should not create a lot of errors. Like if you're not able to put up pages on GitHub pages. First, let's simply try to put it with simple HTML, CSS without using Bootstrap. That was the main reason I ain't used Bootstrap throughout the stream. But it's very important. The journal errors which I see while using Bootstrap, it has to be, I guess, sometimes file do not get uploaded. Off topic, do you recommend a monitor for people doing web with laptops? Okay, for me, you should have a monitor. There is a big reason. The laptop which I have using is a very big screen, like totally a big screen. Usually people have a laptop of 15.6 inch, I guess. I hope that's correct. But for me, it's more like 17.1. I use the bigger version because I'm a person who loves playing games too. But my recommendation would be you should use a monitor for people doing web with laptops. It works well. You get good along with monitor because it's more like it's better visibility and you spend more time on that. Yep, another good point. Add link tag in head, not in body. Good point. I wanted to know one thing. There are some challenges. For that challenges, we have to submit in dev post. So when I'm opening the link, the same link is opening where? Okay, I'll tell you. When you actually open DevPost, there is an option like a drop down menu to select the challenge. So, for example, there are challenge named A, challenge named me. So, for example, you have submitted challenge for challenge A. Now you will get a drop down option to select challenge B. And once you select that, you will be able to do a submission for challenge B too. I hope that solves your problem. Yep, 13 is a bit slow. I'll definitely recommend to have a monitor. Monitors are a bit cheap now. I guess you can check on internet as per your budget and what you think. But according to me, the simple thing you can do is probably just have a good time working with these GitHub pages. And I hope the problem is solved for uh, Sergi. I hope I'm so sorry if I mispronounced your name in any sense. But if any other folks who was trying this with me throughout the streams, like putting up a simple portfolio website using HTML, CSS, and putting up it on GitHub pages, if you are facing any issues, let me know. I'm here to troubleshoot all the problems. And this stream was all about that I wanted to make people aware about GitHub pages. I'm still very sure that a lot of people still don't know about GitHub pages, and that was the reason this stream was concluded. I definitely know that a lot of people already know about HTML, CSS. This is just basic HTML, CSS, to be very honest. But it's very important for even for that last 10% of the folks who do not know about HTML, CSS, to let them know how things work. So I hope think these things are pretty much clear. I am just here if you need any other help with GitHub pages. So I'll be taking like helping you over that. If you want to know something more about upcoming challenges, streams, I'll be here to help you too. And you can also shoot up your questions. Let me help you with that too, if you have any. And if you want to connect on socials, you can always connect with me on my Twitter. That is IG underscore ROX, and LinkedIn. I guess it's almost the same. I'm using the same uh, like thing on all this. And I guess after this stream, we do have a stream. Okay, that is directly 2 hours after the stream. That is an open technical stream. I can see. Okay, to check. Hmm. Okay, I cannot see more questions. Sergi, does that problem solve for you? That your CSS page was not loading. If you want to check on that GitHub repository, I'll just share with that with you folks too. Let me just. I'm just going to copy this repository. I'm also sharing the repository link in this. Okay. I wanted to make a Pomodoro study management tool website using HTML, CSS. Could you tell me regarding whether I should use CSS Bootstrap for it or not? How it is beneficial? Bootstrap make things easy for you. That is very simple to know. But if you are someone who still finds a bit problem, I guess a very good answer. Depend upon time. A very good answer. But my recommendation would be like this is totally my recommendation. Go through YouTube tutorials. Uh, Two reasons for that, which I feel which I started that because with CSS or with Bootstrap they guide you in a better way what to use for a particular project, and in that case you will feel once you start feeling getting comfortable with Bootstrap and CSS, things will be easy on both the end. So for me, on learning perspective, you should use CSS Bootstrap for it because you'll learn at the end. You'll learn things. If you have time, you can go enough with it. Otherwise, you can check on YouTube tutorials. I guess that will be easy for you. I hope that solves your problem. Infinity football. But I guess others did a very good explanation that it depends upon time. The same thing which stated at the beginning. I guess Adarsh is also saying the same thing, that pure CSS is good for beginners. The reason is, when you start with HTML CSS, you should get to know about that language, about that how hard that particular language is, because it gives you confidence. I am very sure till now date, even if you took 100 developers who know about HTML CSS, 80 will not use CSS because they have just left it because they don't feel comfortable around it. But once you start feeling comfortable around CSS, there is no going back, because now you know that you can do anything after understanding CSS. The CSS is more like a never-ending learning process, but it's all upon your imagination how better you can do with CSS. Okay. Do we have any more questions which I usually have missed throughout the stream? I'm just gonna check. But also, I wanted to. Depends upon you. I haven't, to be very honest, I haven't spent a lot of time in this. So I guess I might not be the perfect person to recommend changes, like to tell you that whether you should learn this or this. You should ask other folks too. Yep, CSS can do wonders. It's very powerful. It is very powerful. Not gonna lie. So I guess with this, I wanted to take more if there were any questions, but I don't think so. If you want to become a full stack developer, DSA, like this is my perspective. No, my perspective again. If you want to become a full stack developer, start working on good HTML, CSS skills to start with. Then you move to React JS. I guess the logics will build eventually when you start working on small projects. So when I started working with JavaScript, I still know I have made two games, that is a subway counter and a blackjack game. Yep, it do help in backend. Again, I said when you move ahead, this is others' perspective. When you move ahead, it makes, yeah, like your logic will be developed automatically. Again, a controversial question: to get a job, DSA is important or not? It depends what is your domain. If you want to go in core software development, DSA is important. I can clearly say that. But if you want to work in development or for learning a particular language, DSA might not be important. It depends. Yep, like I agree to others' point that in backend it helps for data manipulations and also building logics, that how things are gonna work. DSA will make some sense there. Okay, I guess Django is good. I have never worked with it, to be very honest. The majority of work I did is with front end, that is React.js, and I'm also learning 3.js now. So, yep, it's a learning process. Things are going like ahead and ahead. So, yep, things are going good. Okay, I cannot see a lot of more questions, but to say that thank you so much, folks, for sticking to the stream. Not gonna lie, I this Global Hack Week has always been a very good motivation booster for me to connect with you, folks. I guess people were super active throughout the stream, especially others. I guess Gaming Skull, Love Gupta was there, a lot of other people, and I guess I cannot take the name of all. It was Shivam also was there. Then I feel Sergi was also working. Shivam was there. I guess Dilora was there. So everyone who was there in the stream, thank you so much for sticking by. And I'm going to see you at upcoming technicals or mini streams or mini events. So till then, thank you, folks. Bye bye for today. Have a nice day.